Good morning, good people. It is Friday, October 1st, 2021. This is Wake Up with Ray G. What's going on? We are out of September. I mean, the year is flying by. 2021 is rolling by. And last night we had I thought it was a really good game. Everybody keeps saying these Thursday night games suck, and they actually end up being really good for the most part besides Carolina and Houston. And we'll get into that Thursday night game in a second. But I always have to thank everybody who's tapping into the show. If y'all rock with us Monday through Friday, we cannot thank you enough for the support that y'all show us, whether you're watching on Twitter, on YouTube, listening to the podcast. Jordan, myself, and the entire Bets Media team, we sincerely, from the bottom of our hearts, appreciate y'all taking time out of your morning to rock with us. Jay, how are you doing this morning, man?
I'm good. Late night last night. Had to watch the whole game. Sometimes you can fall asleep early, but not last night. It was a great game. Two great teams. The better quarterback won, in my opinion.
Let's stop you already. Let's stop you right now. Not two great teams. Not two great teams. Not two great teams. Not two. Come on.
Credit. Give them some credit.
I'm just correcting your vernacular. I'm just correcting your vernacular. They're 0-4. They're not great teams.
The Bengals are first in the AFC North? They got to be, right?
I don't know what they are. They're playing well, though. They're playing well. Jacksonville, listen, man. I don't know what to say about the Jags, to be honest with you, because
the game's so close. So close.
Well, that was last week too, man. For the first, 2 quarters, I'm like, yo, this is a good game plan they put together, right? They're utilizing James Robinson, and we'll get into him in a minute. But this is what I want to talk about, man. Let me. This is what I want to talk about. Watching the games on Twitter has to be the most annoying shit imaginable on the face of the planet. Just the narratives and the biases of players is just mind-blowing to me. Like, everybody now is like Laviska Shenault is the greatest thing on earth. He's done absolutely nothing in his career up until last night. He had a 50-yard bomb. Outside of that, he had 49 receiving yards. Like, stop with this Laviska Shenault thing. Like, he's fine. He's a solid player for an NFL team. That's what he is, man. He's nothing special. This dude is not. He's not some. I'm seeing his route inventory increase last night. Stop, man. Like, why do we do this? Like, it's evident. Yes, you may have liked him pre-draft. Yes, you may think that his NFL skill set should deserve 150 targets a season. He's not that dude, man. He's a wide receiver 3. That could potentially, if the moon and the solar eclipse and the stars all align, give you a top 5 game every blue moon. But even with DJ Chark going down, Laviska Shenault is not about to be some explosive, dynamic, producing fantasy asset. Like, stop. We hear this. We're just watching. I literally have a better experience watching the game staying off of social media. Because all that it is, like, honestly, it's confirming biases from start to finish. If you hated a player before the game, you hate on him throughout the game. If you loved a player before the game, they could fucking piss and make it into the toilet, and people are going to lose their minds. Like, honestly, like, that's what they're supposed to do. When you piss, it's supposed to go in the bowl of the toilet so you can flush it down and people go crazy. Like, that's what we're doing every single week. Listen, Jamar Chase was not my wide receiver 1 going into the NFL draft. I had him 1 spot behind Devonta Smith. Both of those guys tier 1. But when I'm watching him play, I'm like, he's the truth, man. Dude is the absolute truth. The absolute truth. He is a monster. He's going to be very good. Do I believe that he's Julio Jones? Absolutely not. I don't think he's that, but I think he's a damn good wide receiver, and he's showing that early in his career. I don't care where I had him pre-draft. I don't care where I had him ranked going into the season. Like, what he's done on the field shows that he's that guy. I have no problem saying that. But just watching all these ridiculous takes, man, week in, week out, like, Dude, it is so annoying watching the games on Twitter. I don't even get on Twitter anymore, man. It's annoying
I
as
don't.
hell.
I can't do it. It's like you said. Every time something happens, there's like 20,000 people tweeting about it. It doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter. It could be a good play, it could be a bad play. And like you talked about with Visca, the problem for him is his usage. He needs to be Jarvis Landry levels of
He's
efficient and
not.
get volume, and he's just not that. He's never probably going to be that. He's just not. Like you said, third option. He's third in targets on the team right now. But to your point about Jamar Chase, I found I want to say crazy stat, but an interesting stat about him. He has a 151 passer rating when targeted by Joe Burrow this season. That's not including last night's game, but like his ADOT is crazy high. I believe he's top 5 in ADOT. He's, top 5 in passer rating when thrown to. He's got 4 touchdowns. He, hit his overs again yesterday. Didn't score a touchdown, but looked phenomenal as the alpha. I mean, but Tyler Boyd looked really good too.
He's good.
And I don't want to say, but that those two guys complement each other so well. And then to throw Higgins into the fold as well, man. But finally, Joe Burrow got cooking. Oh man, I've been waiting for this day.
Yeah, let's
Let's get into the game.
Let's get into it, man. Let's go.
Wake up! This is the morning run.
Run, Forrest, run!
All right, so Cincinnati came back last night to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? It looked bleak early on. I was pissed. We were watching, and I was texting you, and I was like, man, they're about to mess up my entire teaser on Thursday night. I'm going to have to go put another, and I'll let y'all know the picks that I have for this weekend here towards the end of the show. But Jacksonville looked good to start out. Cincinnati came back. First half was atrocious for Cincinnati. They couldn't get anything going on the ground. They had a couple of good drives that started out early. Then Jamar Chase had an offensive pass interference call, and it just seemed like the offense stalled out. And what Jacksonville did, which they should have been doing from week 1, is feed the beast. James Robinson, right? 18 carries, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's a good running back, man. This is a reason why I was in on his over yesterday of 52.5 yards. And we didn't know when we recorded the show that Carlos Hyde was going to be deemed inactive, but a healthy scratch, right? Which sort of signified that James Robinson was going to command majority of that workload. And outside of a couple of plays on offense, I think he was in there the whole damn time. He's a very, very, very good NFL running back. And I think that if he can command this role and end up, retaining this starting job or potentially getting moved to another team when Travis Etienne comes back, I think he's a bona fide high-end RB2 in fantasy football and somebody that we probably can depend on week in and week out to exceed whatever prop total, which will probably end up being between 50 to 65 yards a game here on out. I think we could probably project his over-under total to be anywhere from 50 to 65 yards. I think James Robinson is a good bet to go ahead and smash that week in and week out if he's getting this type of volume. Were you impressed with James Robinson and your overall thoughts on Jacksonville before we get to Cincinnati?
So I was sweating in about the first 3 to 4 minutes on our little, it wasn't like an official bet, but we were on different sides of this over-under. But yeah, when you talk about James Robinson not leaving the field, you are not speaking hyperbole. Every play he was in there. I don't think I ever saw him leave the field. Every time I looked into the backfield to see if he was in the huddle, because I was just praying he took a play off, he was not. He was always on the field every single play. But talking about the Jaguars, the biggest thing, and the thing I think I noticed really quickly was that, one, Trevor Lawrence ran a lot, which was great to see, but the problem was he became predictable. When he was in a pinch, he always took the ball. He reminded me of Taysom Hill a little bit. Now, I'm not going to say this same type of player. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence can actually run the ball. But when push comes to shove, if Taysom Hill is running a read option, he is going to pull it. It doesn't matter if it's Derrick Henry with him. Doesn't matter if it's Alvin Kamara. Doesn't matter if it's Dalvin Cook. He is pulling that ball. And the same thing happened with Trevor Lawrence. Now, the first 4 or 5 times it worked. But in the second half, when they tried to do the same thing, it didn't. They stayed with him. They were able to stop him. And he wasn't able to get moving on the ground. And I think that's part of why they stalled. And to your point as well, they stopped running the ball with James Robinson as much in the second half. I think you mentioned he only had about 3 carries. And I think that was kind of the undoing for them, was that 4th down conversion they didn't get. Again, Trevor Lawrence pulled it, tried to do it himself. And then the Bengals coming down the field, and I think it was a 50-yard pass to Chase, at least 40 yards. early in that second half. And then by then, the Bengals were rolling, and the Jags lost all their momentum in the early in the second half.
So what are your thoughts about this team? Like, a lot of people were panicked over Trevor Lawrence, and what I told everybody, and I've been on record of saying this, like, this instant gratification that we want from rookies is, we got to stop, man. Like, just fucking-lax. I'm sorry to say that on a Friday. I'm trying to be a better person. I was DMing with Scott Fish last night, and I was like, Scott, I'm trying to be a better person. But relax, man. Like, it's 3 games in, and I'm seeing people all across the Twitter sphere, oh, my God, this quarterback class is a bust. They all stink. 3 games. Trevor Lawrence has looked so bad. It's 3 games, dude. 3 games. 3 games, and we're already just casting off players as total busts. And then Trevor Lawrence goes out there last night, rolling out to his right, 50-yard bow and arrow dime to Laviska Shenault down the field. You're seeing how dynamic he is with his legs. Give these cats time, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, fucking lax, man. Like, relax. Damn, dog.
100%. And you see the football IQ with Lawrence. There is still the mental mistakes every now and then, but on a throw like that to Shenault,
who doesn't have
that's a throw he's made a bunch of times. You see that all the time. He just throws the ball down the field and he just puts it right where it needs to be. Shenault goes and gets it. And then even on some of their quick passes, throwing out routes, they're always boom, 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 right where they need to be every time. It's really just the small things with Lawrence that are going to come with experience. They're not going to just come to him naturally. Yes, he is the number 1 pick. Joe Burrow was number 1 pick too. He threw three picks last week. But this week he comes back, bounces back, 25 for 32, 350 yards, 2 touchdowns. Looks great. Lawrence is going to get there. And even for Burrow, this is his 11th start in the NFL or 12th start in the NFL? He's only played 8 games last season. So you think about it from that perspective, there is a lot of room for growth for all of these young quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence included. Doesn't matter how good you thought he was, doesn't matter how he was touted. He's going to be a great quarterback, and you see the intangibles every week. It's just about cleaning up the mental mistakes, but he's looked better every game, in my opinion. I think you'd probably agree with that.
Yeah, man. I mean, again, it's early in the career. That I always tell people, be mindful of the content you consume, because people who are looking for this immediate gratification for players day one, they will cause you to make big-time mistakes, whether that's fantasy football or in the betting space. And I just want to say, one lock from here on out, whatever Trevor Lawrence is, if Trevor Lawrence's rushing yard total is below 15 yards, just lock that in. Multiple units on that. He's very athletic. He's got speed. If it's not there, if his couple of reads aren't there, he will run it. He knows how to get down and protect himself. So I think when you're talking about free money bets, Trevor Lawrence, any rushing yard total under 15, hell, maybe even under 20 yards, maybe 20 would be a good bet to take. We talked about Jamar Chase staying in those Jamar Chase flames. He didn't get a TD. On the play where Joe Burrow hit CJ Uzomah, he kind of he was telling him where to go. Chase was wide open in the corner. Like, he had broke open in the end zone. If you watch it from the aerial broadcast view, I was like, oh, he had him. But Burrow didn't see him. So he came that close to getting another touchdown. But Jamar Chase, another fantastic game. And he's doing it with low volume, man. Like, he's not they started out, I think he had 4 targets in the first quarter.
Early in the game, yeah.
Early in the game, and then he didn't get another one into the third quarter. But yeah, like you said, Joe Burrow's still a young quarterback. Trevor Lawrence is in desperate need of a alpha wide receiver. They lost DJ Chark last night. I didn't see what the injury was. If it was knee, ankle, is it going to be an extended period of time?
I think he fractured his ankle or something like that. It was, I believe it was a lengthy injury, and they think he's going to be out indefinitely.
Yeah, that's brutal. The biggest takeaway for me is, Cincinnati's resilience coming back. They're 3-1. They are leading the AFC North. And offensively, they're playing damn good football. As bad as we thought the offensive line would be, they held up okay last night. I know Jacksonville's not a ferocious defense, but they held up okay. Joe Burrow's looking good. Jamar Chase is looking good. Tyler Boyd is looking good. Joe Mixon got banged up at the end of the game. Something to pay attention to. Yeah. And in fantasy leagues, if I were you, I'd be picking up Chris Evans. I know Samaje Perine came in as the number 2, but if Mixon were to miss any amount of time, I think Chris Evans would start to develop a role, especially in the passing game. A rookie out of Michigan. But Urban Meyer, did you see his press conference, man? Dude is hurting. Urban Meyer is hurting right now, man. Like he is hurting with these losses, man. 0-4. They played 2 back-to-back games, but I think Jacksonville. I am still a big-time believer of his talent, his skill set, and I think if anything, this should give us more confidence in him and in James Robinson moving forward. 18 carries, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think he had 1 reception for negative yards or 1 reception negative. But his usage is what's really, really encouraging. Now, we've got a ton of other games to get to on this slate. Tennessee versus the Jets. Is that where we're starting with? Oh, no, actually, it was Minnesota-Cleveland. Yeah, Minnesota-Cleveland.
Yeah, Minnesota-Cleveland.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, go ahead and get into that, Jay, while I scour the comments.
Minnesota-Cleveland. Cleveland opens as the favorites. They're favored by 2. Over under 51.5. It's plus 111 for the Vikings money line, and then minus 130 for the Browns money line. This game I'm really excited to watch. Last week, Minnesota put a beat down on Seattle, who has one of the worst defenses in the league, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Minnesota Vikings play at the 4th fastest pace in the NFL in terms of plays per 60. While the Browns are somewhere in the middle of the pack, they run the ball a lot, so that kind of goes to be expected. Dalvin Cook got a limited practice in on Wednesday. I don't know. I didn't say anything about him Thursday, so I think he's trending towards playing, but we're not too sure right now. And even if Alexander Madison does play, he did look really good last week. Now, I know even for me, I was concerned because when he got his shot last season with the Falcons or against the Falcons, he didn't play very well. So I was a little bit concerned. I know some people were on him, but I think that confidence will spell into the next game if he does end up playing a larger role than we kind of expected. But the biggest thing with the Browns is the running game, man. If you guys watched the game last week, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, going bananas right now. Like Kareem Hunt, I think he had 150 all-purpose yards. He did it on the ground. He did it through the air. He's second in the league right now in yards after contact. Chubb is 10th at 3.17. Hunt's over 4, and that's minimum 20 carries. Ray, can you guess who is number 1 in the NFL in yards after contact per attempt? And they have 20 carries. It's minimum 20 carries, so they do have 20 carries.
Yards after contact?
Yeah. Kareem Hunt is number 2, and number 1 is like the most ridiculous answer ever.
Give me the conference. Give me the division.
NFC South. There's only one guy in there.
NFC South, Saints, Bucks, Panthers, Cardinals. James Conner?
No,
that's 8.
He's on Arizona.
That's Arizona. Tampa, Atlanta, Mike Davis.
Patterson.
I said Mike Davis. I got the wrong one.
Patterson
Damn it.
is number 1 in yards per attempt, yards after contact per attempt, which is crazy to me. He's over 6 yards. But again, the Falcons terrible. So the biggest thing with this game is Baker needs to be kept clean. The Browns are doing a great job doing that. He only gets hit on 3.4% of dropbacks. But I don't know, man. How do you feel about this game? I loved what I saw last week from Minnesota, but I don't know if they can beat the Browns. Like, I think the Browns are really, really good. Minnesota's playing at home, so it's in a dome, good environment for throwing the football.
Listen, man.
I don't know.
Listen, Kirk Cousins, if his name were anything other than Kirk Cousins, he'd be in that MVP category because he's been balling, man. I don't think he has an interception all season. Like, Kirk Cousins has been balling, and that offense is putting up a ton of points, man. I think this could be a sneaky shootout. I see somebody said hammer the Browns at negative that by 1.5. I don't know, man.
It's close. It'll be a tight game. It'll be a really tight game.
Somebody asked, do we have any sure locks for Sunday? I've been getting crushed the past weeks. I think we'll talk about a couple. Evan said to me it's a stay away type of betting game, but excited to watch.
Yeah,
I think I think there's some opportunity, honestly, for some long shot touchdown scores in this game. Like, I'm looking at the lines. You can get Tyler Conklin plus 350 to score a touchdown. Anthony Schwartz plus 400 to score a touchdown. What was interesting is Kareem Hunt. It's not plus 150 to score a touchdown. Kareem Hunt. So, I think there are some. Here's the thing that I've learned as we are diving more into the betting world. And it's a principle that I utilize because I day trade, right? Swing trade, day trade. You never go broke taking profits. Like, yes, I would love to hit that GameStop type of move where I get in at 60 and then a week later it explodes to 400 and you make a whole bunch of money. But even if you take bets that aren't paying out $1,000, $700, $600, if you're constantly profiting $300, $150 here. Last night, I hit the first touchdown scorer. I picked James Robinson plus 900. I only laid a tenth of a unit down, so I didn't really make a ton of money, but it helped. It gave me enough to put some more action on this weekend slate of games. So, like, when I'm looking at these, like, for me, sometimes betting the line is a little difficult, like, just in my experience. Like, even last night, you were like, dude, I don't know about James Robinson over 52.5. I felt really good about him scoring a touchdown. So if you would have just put some juice on him scoring a touchdown, you would have profited. So as I'm looking at these lines, like we were talking before the show, I think with game scripts like this, where there's probably going to be a lot of points scored, you got a good chance of at least hitting one of these cats to score a touchdown, right? Especially when you're getting plus odds on it. So I like Kareem Hunt, plus 150 to score a touchdown. I think Tyler Conklin's in a good position to score a touchdown. And I even saw Adam Thielen. You're not getting good odds on it, but it's plus 105 for Adam Thielen to score another touchdown. And he's been in the flames. And you don't have to lay a lot of money on that for it to pay out a little something. So for this one, I kind of agree with Evan. It's kind of a stay-away game, but I'm excited to watch this matchup. And I do think there may be a couple of players where you could lay $10 down on it for Anthony Schwartz to score a touchdown at 4-1 odds. I mean, you walk away with, you know what I mean? What, $40 if he hits, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and that's where even for this game, you know, I was looking at some of the lines. I kind of like Kareem Hunt's rushing and receiving lines. They're 40 and 18.5. Over under 2.5 receptions. I'm iffy on it. You know, Kareem Hunt's a great receiver, but he hasn't always hit that over. First game, 3 receptions. Second game, 1 reception. Next game, 6 receptions. So he's kind of all over the place. Usage has been crazy. But to your point about him scoring a touchdown, he's been great in the red zone. He's used a lot in the red zone because he's more versatile than Nick Chubb is. So when they get to the 20-yard line, they're not necessarily going to run it with Kareem Hunt. Sometimes he'll be used in the screen game. Sometimes he can run. They can throw it to him as well, and he's been great receiving the ball out of the backfield. So I think that versatility lends him to score more touchdowns where
plus
Chubb
150
kind of has to break off the bigger runs. Plus 150 is great odds. You know, $10
plus
down,
150.
come out with 25. Nothing wrong with that, right? That's steady profits.
Or $100 and come out with 250. Them type of deals. I like it.
You're big time better. Moneybags GQ over here. So
let's
I'm a little $5 here, $10
let's not.
there,
Let's
you know.
not.
Sometimes
No,
you get
no,
a big one, but either way, it's
all right. Let's talk
about
about
the next game.
Let's talk about Tennessee and the Jets. This one is interesting because it doesn't look like what A.J. Brown or Julio Jones are going to play. It doesn't.
They're not trending that way. I think what I heard was that Pro Football Doc was talking about how he doesn't think A.J. Brown's going to play, and he thinks there's an outside shot that Julio plays. And that video I saw yesterday that he put out or Wednesday. But yeah, so he was saying that he doesn't think that A.J. Brown's going to play. He thinks his injury is too severe.
Yeah, he's not going to play.
Julio is an outside shot of playing this week, which is not good for the Titans.
Well, we talked about this, right? We talked about these next 2 weeks let's see what Zach Wilson has these 2 games. This could be his get-right games. He's got Tennessee, and then he's got Atlanta, and then he's got a bye week. After the bye week, it gets brutal. Like, the Jets schedule after the bye is not fun. But this offense, Ryan Tannehill has not been what a lot of people expected him to be this season. I think he's been okay at best. A.J. Brown has been terrible. Julio Jones. This is Derrick Henry. And if I took the Titans on this, I 100% would be teasing the hell out of it. I'm going 7.5. Like, I'm making it a straight pick 'em because I do think that there is an outside chance for the Jets to catch Tennessee slipping. I really do.
100%.
If A.J. Brown and Julio Jones are not playing, this is one where everybody's thinking the Jets are going to get crushed. If I were the Jets and Robert Saleh, I would put 8 in the box and be like, all right, Tannehill and Chester Rogers and whoever the hell number 15, whatever his name is, and Westbrook something, Russell Westbrook, y'all beat us. Like, I'm making Russell Westbrook, Anthony Ferkser, and Chester, the Cheeto Chester, beat me over top. Like, I'm just going to say I'm not going to let Derrick Henry win. If these other guys on the outside beat me deep, fine. But I'm not going to let Derrick Henry run for 250 yards on me, and I'm going to have Zach Wilson air it out. This one is one I think I took them on a teaser, and I'm not feeling good about it at all. I'm not feeling good about it, man. I'm not. I think I have him. I think I have him.
I'm with you. Man. Like, the one positive sign is that Derrick Henry is still averaging 3.58 yards after contact and has the most yards after contact in all of the NFL. Of course, he has 80 carries. No one, I think, even has close to 60. So he's clearly by and far the most dominant and the heaviest workload as far as running backs go. But to your point, I was looking at Zach Wilson's passing yard line. It's only 225. I think he can beat that pretty easy. And then on top of this, Michael Carter's line of 39.5 rushing yards. I love that because the Jets are actually moving the ball really well. That offensive line is 5th in the NFL in yards before contact. And that's one of the reasons why I like Michael Carter's line. 40 yards? Come on, that's pretty easy. It's not too bad. He might get only 10 carries or so, but he's starting to be more involved in that offense. And that's the reason why I kind of like his line overall. But Wilson, man, I'm telling you, you know me, I've been on Zach Wilson. I like Zach Wilson. I think he's not as bad as people give him credit for. Not as bad as people talk about him. But he's been playing pretty much the murderer's row of defenses so far this season. Yep. You can't play too many harder schedules than Denver, the Patriots, and the Carolina Panthers. Yeah. You just
can't. As a rookie.
Yeah, as a rookie on top of that. But I think that the Jets defense is playing a lot better than we give them credit for. No one talked about how Mac Jones only put up 24 points when Zach Wilson threw, 4 interceptions in that game. So for me, I just want to see what he can do. And I think that it's finally going to be the chance that he's going to be able to move the ball because he's going to have time in the pocket. And I think they're going to be okay.
Hunter, you want a lock? The lock of this game is Derrick Henry over 24.5 carries. That's what it's set at. Now, you got to lay a lot of it's minus 125. So, I mean, it ain't paying out much on that front. But Evan asked the question, does he set a season high in rushes this week? Would need 35 carries. I can see them just so. I can see them just, especially if those two. What I like about Henry is his usage in the receiving game. So when I'm looking at like Derrick Henry, plus 245 to score 2 touchdowns, plus 245 to score 2.
Score 2 though.
I don't think that's
a lot.
I don't think it's a lot, man. When they get inside the 5, it's going to Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
And if they're down 2 wide receivers and he's utilizing the screen game, I actually kind of like Derrick Henry to hit 2 of them things. Now, I wish the odds were more than 245, but I kind of like Henry to get 2 of them things this week, man.
So, but what if they decide, because the problem with Derrick Henry is not that he's so good, it's that he's getting the ball, so when he doesn't, you get caught lacking in the red zone. And that's when your boy Russell Westbrook catches touchdowns. That's when Anthony First catches touchdowns. That's when Chester Rogers catches touchdowns. So that's the only problem. But to your point about touchdowns, you may get some great value on some of these receivers on Tennessee because they're not going to have good odds regardless. And they may be the first option in the red zone.
What is this dude's name? Westbrook?
I know.
Well, I'm trying to find him. Literally, I don't even. What is it?
It's a hyphenated last name, but I forget what it is. You
Ethan.
Check the box score from last week.
I'm not checking shit.
He scored a touchdown.
Let's go to the next game. Kansas City, Philadelphia. Yeah. This could be sneaky shootout. Man, I had a dream about freaking Jalen Hurts throwing incomplete passes. I'm not even joking you. I'm not even kidding.
You had a dream about Jalen Hurts?
I had a dream about it. Yes, man.
Oh my God.
The problem is, man, like, I think Philly's got some good receivers. I think Rager's really stepped up this season. He looks like a much improved player. We know Devonta Smith has the pedigree. Quez Watkins looks good. Jalen Hurts has got to get it together, man. Like, he's got to get it together. Like, when I'm watching Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow last night, and I get there's the connection there from LSU, but he just gives him an opportunity, right? Like, he's like, when he threw that long bomb to him, he wasn't even open initially, but he ended up breaking free towards the end of the route, and he gave him a chance, man. Like, Hurts isn't really giving anybody a chance right now. He's not giving the receivers an opportunity to go get it. You know what I mean? Rager's good. Smith is good. Watkins is good. Dallas Goedert is good. Like, you got to give these cats a chance to make a play. So when I'm looking at it, I'm just like, I had a dream about him throwing incomplete passes, but the Chiefs' defense, terrible rushing the ball. I guarantee you we do not see 3 carries from the Philadelphia Eagles offense this week. That's not going to happen. They're going to get Miles Sanders going early. I think we'll see a sprinkling of Kenneth Gainwell. And we know that Kansas City, I mean, their defense in general is not very good. Pass defense, rush defense, not good. This could be a sneaky shootout, and I like a lot of the lines in this game. The Chiefs, just like the Cowboys, they get a great push off their offensive line. We talked about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They're averaging 2.71 yards before contact per attempt running the ball. And after what Dallas just did to Philadelphia, could we see Kansas City come out there and feed Clyde Edwards-Helaire early, get him going to loosen up some of the secondary that's still very weak point in Philadelphia, to hit Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill over the top? I think we should all be hoping for that to happen, because if Kansas City can put up points, it's going to first force the Eagles to throw the ball, and maybe Jalen Hurts, Smith, Rager hit some of those props.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. And even for Clyde, 57.5, it's the same type of process that we had last week with Clyde, is that he's playing against a team that isn't great against the run. The Eagles are a little bit better than the Chargers against the run, since the Chargers are dead last in the NFL. But I think the fact that where I kind of missed last week is how well the Chiefs offensive line was playing in the run game. On top of that, not how he's going to have light boxes and how great the receivers are outside, which was part of the argument, and how bad the Chargers were, but actually the line is really what's moving the ball. And I think, more importantly, the Chiefs need to learn from Tampa Bay. They need to learn from Dallas. You just can't always win by throwing the ball over and over and over. And while they have done that, you see the way that the Dallas Cowboys have adjusted. And I hope to see how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers adjust, because you just simply cannot win football games in the NFL if you are always throwing the ball. Every now and then you can win a shootout like 40-30, 50-43, whatever. Like, those games do happen. But we're seeing now more and more the teams that can have a slightly more consistent running game are going to be better off when it comes to balance, being able to run all different kinds of plays. And that's why I like both these running backs, honestly, both Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Miles Sanders, to hit their overs, because they're both going to be playing against bad teams. You have the Chiefs factor with the O-line, how they're getting a great push, 57.5 yards. Clyde went for 100 last week. Then you have Miles Sanders on the other side playing against the league's second worst team against the run, and he only has to get 55 yards. And to your point, there's no way they walk into this game plan knowing how bad the Chiefs are against the run and how they abandoned the run last week and do the same thing this week. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to have to run the ball, control the clock, keep the ball away from Mahomes. We saw the formula last week with the Chargers. I think they're going to have to do the same thing if they even want a shot to win this game.
Man, and I forgot real quick. Speaking, I'm going to go back to the Browns real quick. OBJ looked good. Odell Beckham Jr. looked really good versus Chicago. OBJ is back, man, and he's only 28 years old. I'm big on Odell Beckham Jr. I just tried to look up his props for this game, and there's nothing out there. I wanted to see.
I see 65.5 yards and 4.5 receptions.
What about a touchdown? That's what I was looking for OBJ to
nothing
get in the
for
end zone.
touchdowns.
Yeah, nothing for touchdowns.
Yeah,
okay,
that's tough.
I just want to say Odell Beckham Jr. looks good. Like, he looked good in his first game back. The NFL is better when OBJ is back, and OBJ is back. So, again, shootout. Odell Beckham Jr. over 65.5 versus Minnesota. I like Odell, but he had
Don't
what,
hate
60?
It.
He had
I think
66?
he was 5 for 50 last week.
I think he had 60-something last week, man.
Did he?
I think he had 60-something. All right, back to Philadelphia. I'm with you. I think Miles Sanders is due for a good game. I think Clyde, what did he have? 66, right?
77.
Dude.
I knew he had 5 receptions, but he was 77.
Yeah,
pretty good.
I like
9
the
targets
over.
too.
I like the over. No Jarvis Landry. I really like Odell Beckham Jr. Just wanted to say that. Philadelphia, this is going to be – I think it's going to be a fun game. I think we're going to see a lot of Miles Sanders. I'm looking to see, is there a long shot guy to score? Quez Watkins plus 320 to get in the zone. Demarcus Robinson is like I think he was plus 310 or 320 as well. Devonta Smith plus 160 getting the end zone, and Jalen Rager's plus 220. Somebody's going to score off of that defense. Off of that offense. And you saw Rager getting the deep shots last week, just missed the touchdown versus Dallas if it was underthrown.
Zach Ertz at plus 360.
I don't hate it.
Terrible.
They're utilizing him in the red zone. If you're just going to lay a couple of dollars on him for Ertz to get in the zone, I think you can hit multiple ways in this game outside of the big names like Tyreek and Kelce. There's no point in really putting any money on that. There's no point in laying money on Devonta Smith at plus 160. But when you're talking about Ertz at plus 360, Quez Watkins at plus 320, Jalen Rager at plus 220, I think those are more intriguing for me. For this game, because I do think there are going to be a lot of points scored. One thing that I can guarantee is it's not going to be a defensive battle. This is not going to – Kansas City wants to get right. They're coming off of back-to-back losses. I don't think Patrick Mahomes has lost back-to-back games as a starter in his career. They're coming off of back-to-back losses. They're last in the division. This is their get-right game. If Kansas City loses to Philadelphia, that's just it's gonna make their road to win the division very difficult. And I think it probably, it's a lot of season left, but winning the division is probably going to be they're pushing for the wild card berth. They can't lose 3 straight. They cannot lose 3 straight. They're going to have to come out hot and early. Where's this game at? Is it in Philly or in Kansas City?
In Philly, yeah.
It's in Philly on the road. Man,
hostile environment, but we'll see. They have, like, to me, it's like you have to throw to Tyreek all day long. Like, that's the only reason why, if you want to go after the Kelsey Hill props, and I didn't even bother pulling them up because they're probably insanely high.
I'll look it up.
But it's just like they're going to be so dependent on those 2 guys because they cannot afford to mess up another game. They just can't. So you're going to have to go to your studs all day long. And I think that more importantly, you may even be able to get a good price on Mahomes. What's his rushing yard number? His number is 14.5.
Yeah.
Take Mahomes rushing yards 14.5 because he's going to do everything he can to win this game. He is not going to sacrifice anything. He's going to leave it all on the field. And he's also plus 230 to score a touchdown. So if you think he runs for a touchdown, which he very well could.
I kind of like that, man.
Plus 230. And even I was looking at Clyde, minus 105, so almost even money to score a touchdown for Clyde. And so,
I actually really like Mahomes over 14.5 and Mahomes to score a touchdown. I mean, you could just two-leg parlay that and get some nice plus money on that. I really like Mahomes plus. I think QB rushing totals are some of the most profitable bets that you can make, especially when you have an athletic quarterback like that who likes to extend plays. What's Jalen Hurts at? Probably like 50-something yards, right? Jalen Hurts rushing yards, 50.5, minus 120.
That's high. But I mean, the Chiefs do allow 160 rushing yards per game. Like that's a ton. That can hit Miles Sanders over. That can hit Jalen Hurts over. That can hit Kenneth Gainwell's over. Like all of them can hit their over if they just hit the median point that the Chiefs allow every week, which is pretty crazy. But we'll see. That's why I like Sanders is over.
Well, where else we got? We got Arizona, Los Angeles. This is going to be a good game. Good game. A lot of points. A lot of points, right? You think, no, it's not game of the week. It's Tampa Bay, New England, baby. You know that. But this is a good game. This is a good game. Matthew Stafford staying in those flames. Cooper Kupp staying in the Cooper Kupp flames. What else do we have right here? If the Cardinals want to stay competitive in this game, they are going to have to push the ball downfield. And Christian Kirk is first in the NFL in deep targets, which is 35% of his total target share, averaging 2 per week so far this season. Good stat, Jordan. Like it, man. What's Christian Kirk's odds to score? Let's see. Go ahead and continue to go through the notes.
You look that up. But the other thing that I pulled up from this game is that the Cardinals are 4th worst in the NFL in terms of rushing yards allowed per game. So I don't know what Sony Michel's number is, but you may actually be able to see a decent number for him and exploit that because, and even for him, they don't even have a number for him. Come on, books. Give me something. Give me some juice.
For who?
For Sony. There's touchdowns, but no yardage totals. But yeah, like, I'm curious how this game plays out because the Cardinals are beatable on the ground. But at the same breath, it's like, is Stafford really going to stop throwing the ball? Nah, like, dude, I don't think so.
Cooper Kupp over 6.5 receptions?
Well, I don't hate it. I like the number, but maybe we can get a better number on. Oh, there we go. How do you like this one?
What you got?
Deshaun Jackson plus 240.
I saw that to score a touchdown. I'm not doing it again. I'm not going to the well twice. I'm not doing it again. D-Jax did what he did last week. I'm not going back to the well again. And this Arizona secondary is a lot better than what we just saw out of Tampa Bay. I'm not going to the D-Jax back-to-back well. I'll wait until like week 9. You got to give D-Jax about 5 to 6 weeks in between big games, and then he'll recover.
He might get hurt though. Then he's not gonna. He's gonna be useless.
No, he won't get hurt. D-Jax is in L.A. He's in L.A. He's feeling good. He's back home. He's feeling good. He's back home. He's feeling good. But in this one, I do like Cooper Kupp over 6.5. You just don't get the price on the minus 135. You got to lay a lot down to really make anything off of that. What about Chase Edmonds? Are you interested in Chase Edmonds in this matchup at all? Especially his receiving.
Not really. The big thing for
the big thing for
is
you.
the split with Connor. I don't trust that split, right? And while to your point, I do think it's a positive game script for Chase Edmonds, I just don't trust the split. I haven't really been tailing his props that much, and so they probably come down a little bit from where they have been. But I don't really want to go there, Like the Rams defense is good, but I think where we're still kind of mistaken is if you did want to take, let's say, a Connor rushing yard prop. For some reason you thought, oh yeah, let's go after James Conner's rushing prop. It's only 32.5 yards. And we've seen the Rams be a little bit susceptible on the ground. Like they haven't been the stout defense when it comes to rushing that we expected from them. They're great in the air. They're great through the air. They're really difficult to pass on. So Kyler's going to have a tough time there. But, if it was me, I'm staying away. Give me Kyler's rushing yards at whatever the hell they are. They could be 60 yards. I'd probably still take the over.
What do you think about this? And it's plus money on each of it. But if you took Rondale Moore over 3.5 receptions, that's plus 110. And if you took Rondale Moore to score a touchdown, that's plus 260.
Yeah, I like that. That's pretty good. 4 receptions. He should probably
4
see
receptions
that.
And a touchdown.
How many times does Kyler throw the ball? 50? Like minimum?
And the Rams are probably, this is a division game. So Jalen Ramsey's going to be locked up with DeAndre Hopkins majority of the day. AJ Green's going to get the second corner from Los Angeles. I don't think that's bad. You're getting plus money on Rondale, 4 receptions. We know he didn't have a good game last week.
Kyler Murray's over-under is 33 rushing yards.
What are the odds on that?
Minus 114. It's an even split.
I mean, that's a lot.
How does that? Am I tripping to think that that's way too low? Like, what is stopping him from running? Like, Aaron Donald's going to be up his ass the whole game. So how is he not going to be running around, running for, like, I don't know, man. Like, that seems way too low. I know you can't really set, but even look at Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts' number's at 50 yards. But Kyler Murray's number?
I'll take Kyler at 33 over Jalen Hurts at 51. I'm taking Kyler Murray.
He's never hit that this season. But one thing, he's ran for a touchdown every single game this year. Every game. So you could stay in those flames if you want. And he's plus 150. On FanDuel. So if you're on FanDuel, if you want to stay in those Kyler Murray flames plus 150, that's a good bet. If you think he scores 2 touchdowns, it's plus 1,000, but that's on William Hill. So it just seems way too low. Like his pass yard number is over almost 300 yards. His pass attempts I do like at 37.5. I think he's going to be throwing the ball like 45, 50 times. I'm assuming they're down, but I still think that he's going to have to run the ball quite a bit to keep them in the game. Again, it's the same thing that we talked about with Mahomes. Cardinals can't afford to lose this game. They have to win. That means Kyle's going to put the game on his back, and I think that means him running for touchdowns and running for a lot of yards.
All right, so we got Seattle and San Francisco. Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know who's playing running back. George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Russell Wilson. Is Tyler Lockett back? DK Metcalf, Chris Carson. What's up with this one, baby? What is up with this one?
This game is disgusting. It's probably my least favorite matchup all week. And the main reason why is because I want to target Seattle. They are one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and they play the most minutes per week on defense. They play 38 minutes a week so far on defense.
We may want to stay away. We may want to stay away from that Kyler line. Just throwing that out there. He had 5 for 15 and 2 for 3 last year. Just throwing that out there. Thank you, Evan. But go back to your disgusting game. So go back to Seattle, San Francisco.
I'm not happy about this. I really want to take the Niners and the points. I don't really love the over-under. Russell Wilson's been really good, but I think that I don't know, man. I just want to stay away from this game. Jefferson and Thielen had great games last week, but I just don't know if it's going to be Ayuk. I don't know if it's going to be Debo. I don't know if it's going to be Kittle, and I don't know who's playing running back. Whoever is playing running back, though, I would see if you can get a number on them, because Alexander Madison had 160 yards last week, and that was rushing and receiving, and I don't think he scored. I don't think he scored, but he did have, I think, 7 catches for like 60 yards, and then he had over 100 yards on the ground. Spectacular performance from Madison, but it's because the Seattle defense is so bad and Russell Wilson is so good that they just are not on the field on offense very often. Seattle averages the least plays in the league per 60. They have a fast pace. They still have Lockett, who was, I believe, a DMP yesterday. So just take that what you will. Whether he practices, I don't really care. It's if he plays. I like Metcalf more in this game. If you're picking a guy, I'm more team Metcalf. I think he can get deep on the San Francisco defense more so than Lockett can, but they both can get deep, and Lockett's obviously hurt. I just want to stay away from this game. There's nothing about it that I like other than that Seattle sucks, but I don't know who to use to exploit that on the San Francisco side. And that's why, for me, I'm staying away pretty much entirely from this game.
I looked for Deebo Samuel to score a touchdown. Nothing out there. Nothing out there for Trey Sermon. Nothing out there for Elijah Mitchell. There's nothing out there for to get in the end zone. I like DK Metcalf in this one, especially if Tyler Lockett's not playing, but they have nothing up for his receptions. Like our prop shop, no reception total, no yardage total. They've got him to score the first touchdown plus 675. I mean, you're just banking on Seattle scoring first. Kyle Juszczyk, I think our guy Giles got Kyle Juszczyk to score an anytime touchdown score last week for like plus 900, or maybe it would have been, I think it was even a little bit more than that. There's nothing out there for Seattle right now. For this entire game. Let's see if there's anything out there for Chris Carson. Is there anything out there for Chris Carson? Yeah, they got his rush attempts up to score first, but man, I mean.
But they're still playing the Niners defense, which is a more than capable defense. And then I think they're going to be passing the ball more. But to your point, if Lockett's not there, they're going to struggle passing the ball. So I don't know, man. There's a lot of things I don't like about this game other than the San Francisco matchup as a whole, which is why I kind of like taking San Francisco on the money line plus minus 150. Or if you want to take them with the points, I'm cool with that too. Over under though, 52. Don't love it. I don't love it. I'd probably stay away from that.
I stay away from it.
But yeah, San Francisco I think wins this game pretty easily unless Russell Wilson goes like completely nuclear. But that defense has been so bad. I just don't know how the Niners don't put up 30 points, regardless of who's playing running back, regardless of who gets the ball. We just don't know who's getting the ball.
Yeah, that's one that I'm just interested to watch that game, but I don't have any conviction one way or another in Seattle, San Francisco. So we've got Baltimore, Denver, Pittsburgh, Green Bay, and Tampa Bay, New England. We've only got a couple of minutes left in the show. So where do you want to go? Like, where do you think, when we're looking at these matchups, where are the exploitable, lines, do you think? Is it the Baltimore-Denver game, Baltimore on the road in Denver, Pittsburgh, Green Bay?
I don't want to touch it. I can't. And I looked for Najee lines. They aren't up.
Yeah, they're not up
for Najee.
Yep.
Just rushing lines because they know he's not going to hit them. Fantastic. I wouldn't mind talking about Tampa Bay, New England, but one thing I do want to note, so the people know, and I tweeted this out a little bit earlier, Tim Patrick has a perfect passer rating when targeted by Teddy Bridgewater, and completing 90% of the passes thrown his way. His over-under is only 41.5 yards this week. Playing against Baltimore, I still think they run quite a bit, but it's a way that he could maybe get there. Cortland Sutton's still the alpha, but I'm loving what I'm seeing right now from Tim Patrick. And now that KJ Hamler's out for sure, Jerry Jeudy's still not back. He should be the second man in that offense. We're still going to see a lot of Noah Fant, still going to see some Alberto, Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams. But Tim Patrick is a guy who's been scoring touchdowns at a pretty decent rate and catching the ball very, very effectively. I think Teddy's going to keep getting him the ball and could be a guy who you could look out for both in fantasy leagues if he's kind of out there or he's easy to trade for, or in your DFS lineups, and potentially even if you want to bet on them as well.
Yeah, Stone asked, are there any Rashad Bateman props? No Bateman props right now. It's interesting. There's quite a few of these guys that aren't up right now. Let me see if Javonte Williams has anything. Javonte Williams is due to get in the zone at some point. They just have rushing and receiving. 54.5 for Javonte Williams, rushing and receiving versus Baltimore. 1.5 receptions, 9.5 receiving yards. Melvin Gordon, Bridgewater. What are Cortland Sutton's lines? Let's look at Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton's been good.
Cortland Sutton has been a beast. Man, I did not expect this at all. His past 2 games have been just spectacular. Way better than I ever expected. People were talking about how he was starting slow early in the offseason.
4.5 receptions.
This is why you just can't trust these camp reports. You just can't. You have to just wait to see what these guys do on the field. Because Cortland Sutton was, he was slow. He wasn't confident. And then his first game as the alpha, he puts up 150 yards and catches 9 passes. Come on. And then Jamar Chase is dropping passes all offseason. Comes in, has 4 touchdowns in his first 4 games. Oh, man, it's just crazy to see what these guys are doing. But this is where the talent always wins out, man. The talent always wins out. But I do like Javonte Williams if you want to go for the 40.5 rushing yards. I think Baltimore is beatable on the ground. I think Javonte could be the guy that exploits them.
All right. Evan said he's taken 6.5 on Green Bay. Big Ben has been horrible this year, typically even worse on the road. Pair that with Johnson and Juju being banged up, but still expected to play. Yeah, I'm not a fantasy. I'm not rolling out Deontay this week. I need to see him play and play well. I think Najee, whenever his receiving line comes out or his reception props, I'll probably take that. I mean, I think he's a lock for 8-9 targets per game, and he's getting them all close to the line of scrimmage. He doesn't drop the ball. I like Najee Harris, but we have to talk about New England, Tampa Bay. We have to because I think New England's defensive scheme is going to be really good. I do not think this is going to be the slobber knocking that most people think that it's going to be. I don't. It is Sunday night. It's Bill Belichick. New England still has a good defense. And I don't think every game that we've talked about being a drubbing, that teams are just going to get annihilated, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And if anybody has the prep work on Tom Brady, it's New England and it's Bill Belichick. And you could say that conversely from Tampa, right? If anybody knows how to exploit New England's defense, it's Tom Brady. So it works both ways. It works both ways. But I think this is going to be a good game. I do not think Tom Brady is going to throw for 500-600 yards. I think it's going to be a good game. I don't know why. I don't know. Even last night when Elliot, Brooke, and I were talking about Jacksonville, the Jacksonville game last night, everybody's like, oh, they're going to get killed. I was like, I don't know, man. Like, these dudes come to play, and when it's the wounded tiger, man. Whenever your back is against the wall, you fight and claw out of here. But Tom Brady is coming off of a loss, a lot of emotion. I think the crowd is going to be cheering for him. Why would they boo him? Like, he didn't leave under bad pretenses. I don't think they're going to boo him at all. I don't think so. Tampa Bay's defense is struggling mightily. They have one of the worst rushing offenses in the NFL. We talked about that. They have the worst pass defense in the NFL. But they get pressure. They've got a good defensive front, and I think Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh. I don't know if Jason Pierre-Paul is back, but Shaq Barrett. I think they are going to make life on Mac Jones hard, even though New England has a solid offensive line. We're going to see. I think this, and I know Tampa Bay gets Antonio Brown back. I think New England is going to cover the spread. I do not think they're going to get blown out. I do not believe it,
What's the spread now, though?
I think it's still at 7.
Let's see what the spread is now.
I think it's 7.
Let's double check it.
I believe it's 7
right now. It's still 7. It opened up at 4 or something like that. So I mean, I got it 4. I got it at 4.5. So I'm pretty happy about that because I think
I do not think
it could be a pretty big blowout game. But that's just my opinion.
I don't.
So here's my counter argument to you. And while I get the scheme factor, there's one element that isn't factored in here. Tom Brady has had to hear about all of these stories, people talking about it. Bill Belichick had to hear it too, but he's not playing in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not playing in the game. So that's where I think there's a little bit of an edge to Brady. Because Brady, while, yes, he did leave on bad terms, and we don't know how he feels about the Patriots right now. And he talked about how he said he wants to go in, he wants to beat him down. He said that at a press conference. But he also had to hear about all these stories about Bill Belichick not want to take his call and not want to do all these things. So he had to hear answer these questions from the media. And I think that could be the determining factor. And if there's anyone who's going to rally a team, they're going to want to play and win for him just as much as the Patriots want to beat Tom Brady. I think even more so, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski coming back to New England will want to do it for Tom, right? And that defense will play up for Tom. And like you talked about, they're still top 10 in pressures. They're going to make Mac's life hell. They're going to make Mac's life hell out there. And I would take Cortland Sutton over Corey Davis, Miles, if I was just answering your question real quick.
I am going to take a bet, and I'm going to take Rob Gronkowski as the first touchdown scorer in the game, plus 700. I'm just going to lay a 0.1 units on it. I'm taking Rob to score the first touchdown in this game. I don't think it's going to be a blow.
To score at all, which is
plus 110 to score at all. Yeah.
Great value.
That's great value. I think Rob's going to get in the end zone. I think this is going to be a better game than people expect. That's what I think. But before we get out of here, let's drop your lock picks of the week. Who do you have? Locked and loaded. You're betting on it. You got juice on it. Where are you going? Your locks.
This is tough because
let's go. We got to go. Just roll them. We got to go. Who are your locks?
Yesterday we talked about Jalen Waddle over 3.5 receptions, DeAndre Swift over 35.5 receiving yards, and Josh Allen over 2.5 passing touchdowns. And then today I didn't really see any ones I liked, but I do want to lock in Michael Carter over 39.5 rushing yards is the other one I like from today. And then Miles Sanders, 55.5 rushing yards. And that's it. So that's my 5. Those are my 5 picks. You got
I'm locking in your Jalen Waddle call at over 3.5 receptions. Locked. I'm going to put that in. DeAndre Swift, over 35.5 receiving yards. Locked. Patrick Mahomes, over 14.5 rushing yards. Locked and loaded. Those are my 3 locks. I've got those 3 that I'm going to put in a 3-leg parlay on that right now. And then one of my teasers, I got a 6-leg teaser in right now, 7.5 point teaser. It's 5 legs because the Bengals got it done last night. But I have Tennessee -1.5, Kansas City -1.5, Tampa Bay -0.5. They just need to win the game, which I think they will. The Dallas Cowboys +0.5, just win the game, which I think they will. And I have Green Bay -1 for the game. So I put 2 units on that 6-leg teaser. One of them is already hit, so I just need the other 5. One more time, Tennessee -0.5, -1.5, Kansas City -1.5, Tampa Bay -0.5, Dallas +0.5, Green Bay -1, and Cincinnati covered last night -1.5. But that's what we got this week, Jay. I hope it is a profitable weekend for us. I hope some of y'all hit. Somebody said Sutton or Corey Davis. I'm going Cortland Sutton. Hope y'all have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy the games. Ole Miss, Bama, Arkansas, Georgia, Tampa Bay, New England, Dallas, Carolina, Arizona, LA. It's a good week of football. We appreciate y'all waking up with us every damn day, and we'll see y'all on Monday. We out of this thing. Peace.